Hey there, I'm Dave and you're watching the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. Okay, so on today's video we are going to be doing a review of the new single by Nightblade. It's called That's the Way You Want It. They're a UK rockers, which is why it falls to me as the hard rock metal, classic metal kind of guy for the channel to review it. Don't know anything about this band. It's the first time I've heard of this band. It's come through from their promo, so I'm not sure who's the promo for this particular company, but your promo company has sent the details over, so well done to the PR company. Rampant Rock Crew return with a spanking new album. I love press releases. There's the Brit Rockers, Riff Masters, love it, love the name. It's a good name, Nightblade, sounds cool. Never want to sit back on their hands. Nightblade continue their rise, follow up their last year's Hope to Be Their album with another scorching record. In 2020, the band delivered their impressive Relentless Rock revelation with the release of Ignorance is Bliss, and in 2021, Nightblade set loose their powerful album Unknown Territories. Okay, so they are not slouches. They are obviously putting out regular releases, so I'm looking forward to this, which also means I'm going to be judging it quite critically, because if you've been putting out numerous releases, it means you can't get away with being like your debut release or sophomore. If you've already put out a couple of pieces of work, you're going to get judged for that, so expect this to be a bit more finely tuned than a debut. Now, throughout this video I will have to pause it and chop it up, etc., because of copyright issues with YouTube, and I apologise for that, but there is no real way around it. I will be pausing at sections wherever there's things I want to talk about, which will be the main bits that you'll get to see, and obviously I'll give a final summary at the end. But let's go check out Nightblade, and That's the Way You Want It. Okay, first question. Are they filming this at school? This looks like a fairly typical British school to me. Like, is one of the people in the band a teacher? And it's a weekend or something, and they were like, yeah, we'll just use the school at the weekend for it. Fairly classic, well, as you say, classic hard rock. So it's a fairly common chord progression so far. So let's see where we go with it. Yeah, I'm going to do a pause here just because there's a few things that I already want to talk about in this particular video. So, I can't tell if these guys are using in-ears or not, but I would hope that they're using in-ears for playback. So that would be a fairly common practice because they're not going to be having things blasted out. Now, you can already see from the impression of their overall performance, this is not something they're blasting out. The drums are hitting very lightly. Now, this is basically because if he hits it too heavy, he won't be able to hit here. Especially if he's listening to speakers, he'll never be able to keep in time. So it's always the most obvious one when you see a drummer who is not got a loud in-ear mix and he can't rock out properly because he's hitting it very lightly. And also if he's got in some school areas, you've got residential areas nearby and they don't want to be making up too much noise, so they've done it. There's a few shots we've seen of individual members of the band kind of just standing around. I'd like to see a bit more attitude, or I would have liked to see a bit more attitude in the actual shot. The shots looked like they almost didn't want to be there, and it's important for a music video. This is the selling first impression. This is my first impression of a band, is a band that doesn't look comfortable in this video. I don't know if they felt that there was a noise restriction or they just couldn't relax while they were there, but they do not look relaxed in this video shoot. Let's keep going.
Without it, you will be too
Okay, there was a mistake on that snare on there. It was a fluff between the snare and the kick there. It's just, it tells you it was the album was recorded live, so there was no digital fixery in there, because there is a fluff. There was a fluff there between the kick and the snare, basically on different. Normally that and the snare hit and the kick will hit, one of those will match up, and they're slightly offline, so you've got some misalignment there, which is why it sounds a little bit fluffed. Yeah, it's lacking a little energy here. So it's kind of plodding away rock track. It's not doing a huge amount for me right now. Especially if they've done a couple of things already. They've released a couple of things. I'd expect maybe a little bit more from them as far as like the attitude. I mean, we've got a shot here on the screen that you can see. It's like a rubbish bin. I'm struggling to understand what this is about. That's the way you want it. Unfortunately, it's not the way I want this video. I want this video to have some sass, some attitude. That I will give them credits for the fact that with their setup as far as the car part, they've set it up like a live gig, so that they've got a PA there, they've got everything's got wires connected, which I like. So the microphone, even the microphone he's got, has got a wire connected to it, and I like that because it's at least it's giving that impression. But then you get to a point here where the guitarist is on his own, there's no amp there, so you kind of, that consistency of, do you go with amps, do you have a cable going to nowhere, do you go completely wireless and mime pretend? It's that consistency of for all the way through the video for me.
Crying, but you never accept help in your own way, unable to reflect reason for a soul. That's all you're intimating, casting them aside. It's your final call.
It's kind of interesting here in this video is that I was trying to work out what's making this feel a little bit unnerving, is the fact the vocalist is not at any point looking at the camera. Now that's fine if it's you're doing a kind of a storytelling element video and you've got a performance element thrown in there, but I do like vocalists to in the video to connect with the camera, because at the moment it feels like we're not connected with the band, we're observing from an outside point of view, and the only problem with that is it's not, none of the members in the band feel like there's any energy coming across from them. It really does. This is a first impression. This is how it's coming across to me. Is like this is a band that doesn't want to be here at this point in time doing this video. They just want to get it done and go home. And they're not excited about the song. They're not excited about doing this music video. They just want to get it done. It's an odd expression. It'd be interesting to hearing this without watching the video and seeing if maybe my viewpoint on the track changes, because the track's just kind of plodding along at the moment, and I haven't found the wow element that's going to kind of make me go, yeah, this is it, this is a band I really want to get into. But we'll wait and see. You never know. We're only 2 minutes in, and it's a 6-minute song, which I can't believe it's a hard rock track that's 6 minutes long. That doesn't happen very often.
Any way you want it. Any way you want it. Any way, any way you want. You have got it. That's the way you want it. Paint a picture of yourself. Any way you want it to be. You're out there on your own. Maybe consider to be. I will be there overgrown.
Do you know what? I think the amount of different camera cuts they're doing is actually starting to disconcert me, because it's just so, because there's no real story element to the video. They're just firing in lots of different camera angles. It's kind of a weird thing, because doing videography myself, it's I can kind of understand what the videographer's done. So they've got a location, and a lot of this would just be down to budget. In this day and age, you can't. everything costs so much. You don't make anything as a band, so you've got to do what you can. So this made sense. They probably had access to this building. They had an open space. They were like, yeah, let's do it. I personally would have just done it in a studio, in a rehearsal studio or something, and shot it in there, because the outside shots aren't that interesting. There's nothing that interesting about it. I'd have maybe done it as a rehearsal shot and had it as more of a laugh in with cut scenes of in the studio, and just cut away to some other bits, rather than this, because there's bits in here where the camera's moving around and you can see like a big old wheelie dump bin in the background, and so it's aesthetically it's not the most pleasing video to watch. We're at 3 minute mark and we've got another 3 minutes of this, and I haven't heard anything significantly changing musically. So they're trying to keep it interesting by doing lots of different cut scenes. And for me, that's just not working, because there's nothing to cut the scenes to. Maybe having some longer periods of time on the vocalist would have made sense. I mean, I'm seeing them using transitions like white flash as their transition shots to blend between the two. Sometimes can work, but if it's used too often, it's like using the blink effect, and there's certain effects you can use in videography. They've got on this particular shot here, you can see around the sides here, so they're using what's called a vignette around the side, which is basically darkens out some of the corner parts. That means you get a lot more light in the center focus, so they're using that just to kind of blend. It was probably a very sunny day. They've tried to bleach out some of the look, which is why the blues are much lighter. They've taken some of the color, they've decolorized it, so there's a lot of the effects that I know that they've used in this particular video. So I'm assuming this is potentially self-shot footage and self-released, and so I'll judge it based around all that. So I'm not saying judge, I think that's a hard word to say. I'm just giving critique in an honest way, because we listen to so much music every single day here on the channel. Some of it makes it onto the videos and we do reactions to, sometimes we don't. We've got album reviews that we do, etc. So we have a certain bar that we have to judge by, so we kind of give you an honest appraisal, if you like. But let's keep going.
Have you at the top of a soul as all your intimating, casting play on both sides, each your fights. Anyway you want, you have got it. That's the way you want it.
I mean, the vocalist, he's giving you some sass, he's giving you some attitude, which I like. I'd like it a bit more directed at the camera in the video. But I like what he's done on the actual track there. Anyway you want it is basically he's channeling a little bit of like the 80s classic rock with a little bit of Elvis thrown in there for good measure. Okay, solos, guys. So this is a 6 minute song. Should be a 3 minute song, guys. You really need to shorten this track out, and I hope you can shorten it out live. That first part of the solo, the first solo, that should not be in there. I don't know how that managed to make it past the tracking stage. That's almost like a guide solo. There is some errors in there. There's some bending parts that didn't quite bent to the right place. It doesn't flow very well. This to me is a vibe of a band that's just started out. This is like a new band that maybe in your first year. I've been playing maybe for a couple of years. I don't know how long these guys have all been playing together, but if this is a group of individuals who are fairly new to music, have only just started playing in the last couple of years, have maybe been playing mainly at home and never played in their own. This is the first band they've done together. There's some steep learning curves for them coming up, definitely, to sort of take off. And there are some amazing hard rock bands out there. And if you're playing in that field and you want to be taken into that field, there's some definite scaling up of ambition you've got in there that needs to be sort of focused in on. If you just want to play the local gigs and with your friends and stuff, and fair play, keep going down that one. Just keep working on these areas, because for me, when you're guide tracking and when you're demoing your stuff for an album, etc., this should be really like that should have been like nipped in there. Drums were slightly off tempo at that point. There was a bit of a slowdown, so I don't know if there's a natural how much was played to click, how much wasn't, if there was any lock in. It sounds like it's done to a live drum, so fair play. The guys have recorded to a live drums rather than using MIDI. Me personally, I quite like using MIDI because it does mean if you have a great track all the way through and you made one mistake, you can go back and just drop that in, or you can just do a couple of tweaks and just drag a hit that's in the wrong place. Don't have to change the whole lot, but you can do some minor tweaking to your kit beforehand, and then just with the plugins that you now have for electric kits or for MIDI sounds for doing through your workstation, there is no reason why you wouldn't want to go down that route. So yeah, no, disappointed on the solo there, guys. Sorry. Okay, that was a nice drum fill. I liked the drum fill. So it was something I did like. So far, vocals I've liked, and I liked some of the drum fills that the guy is doing on the drums. But as I said, it's a live recording from the drums with some minor errors that only, I don't know if maybe it's because I'm a drummer myself, that's why I pick them up. But I probably listen quite intently to what the drums do. Okay, so there we go. That's the Way You Want It by Nightblade. Let's close that one down. There we go. Okay, so as I said, I'm gonna if this had been a debut album, I could kind of go, okay, look, debut young band. Maybe if it was a young band. I mean, the problem is people get into music at late stages of life nowadays. So, and look, I've got my new band's debut coming out next year, and I'm expecting people, because I'm a harsh critique, I'm expecting these bands that I give harsh critiques to do exactly the same to my band, and that's fine, because if I've made something which I wasn't up to scratch or to crack when I actually pushed it out there, I would expect the same sort of level of feedback, and we do. So when our guitarist in the band puts something out, or my drum fill isn't up to speed, we will just debate it. We will go back in. We've actually re-recorded the drums 3 times on the album. Solos are being reworked constantly. Vocal levels, we're doing different harmonies, and this is our debut. But we've all played, either guys are currently playing in other bands, or we've all played in bands previously, and we've learned from those things that went wrong on our debut first albums. My first album's back in the early 2000s, but when we learned from that first album, and then we learned what to do on the next album, we learned from that one to go into these albums, etc. So you do learn, and I don't know enough about this band to know whether or not this is like their if they've played in numerous bands before. It's interesting here. So it's basically, I'm reading of something. It says, so far the band have received many plaudits and praises for their recorded work. I'd be surprised. From Powerplay magazine, Krang Radio, HRH magazine, Ramzine, Fireworks magazine have recently backed their music. I don't know if I'd back it on that particular track though. Maybe there's a different track in there that's probably got more of a number. I mean, that to me, it's a 6 minute song that could have easily been a 3 minute song and would have actually benefited by being 3 minutes and cut to the point. There's a lot of fill in there. I would have definitely, effectively, there's a lead melody type solo and a kind of core solo there. I would have just dropped it, and that lead melody solo came in a couple of times. Probably drop it down to once on that. Get rid of the other solo. You could do really well with having a radio edit of this song. It's far too long for what it is. It doesn't have a huge amount of variation. It's a fairly simple chord progression. As I said, I like the guy's vocals, and I thought drums were pretty good. There was some nice variations of using the toms and stuff, but it does still feel like it's a bunch of guys that have just kind of been pulled together, but haven't really. I don't feel the gelling in that. If there is, you don't get it in that video. So I don't think the video's done them any favors because there's not much to kind of. Having watched that, there's nothing about that makes me go, yeah, I need to go and watch these guys live. And that's part of the whole music video element, is to go and get people to want to come and watch you live, and so you can earn money out on the road. And there's nothing about that made me go, this is going to be an enjoyable experience to watch you guys live, because there was no energy there. So whoever shot your video, I would seriously challenge and question whether or not that video is doing what you wanted it to do. So there's multiple things that I would definitely have changed about it. But look, that's just one impression on one video. So I would definitely give these guys another look in, or maybe a different video, different track, to see a different side. Because first impressions, and this was my first impression, is not great on this particular one, but hopefully on a future video of these guys, maybe that will change and we'll get a few new surprises from them. But we will wait and see. So that is Nightblade. Now, if you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe. And if you didn't like this video, leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. And please do like, share and subscribe, because as we say, this channel is all about honesty. And giving honest opinions. We're not there to troll. We're not there to slag off bands, or we're not there just to try and sensationalize things for views. We're just here to try and give honest opinions. There's 3 of us that host this channel with different musical scenes, from doom, extreme death metal, hard rock, classic rock, and yet we can still all get on fine with our differences of opinions on the music. So sometimes we agree on things, but most of the time we don't, but we get on fine as friends. So hopefully we can do the same with the audience. Now, if you like this video, as I said, please do like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.